Welcome back to another video. In today's video, it's going to continue on with the workshop weekend series, and as you can see behind me, we have the ute. It's already sort of stripped a little bit, springs out, panhards off, but you'll have to wait and see what's in store for it. So as you can see there, the grease is not what we want. It is not grease, it is mainly oil at this point. It is grey, it is dark, it's ready for the bin. Basically the process is take your caliper off, undo your wheel bearings, undo your manual hub, there's a circlip there, the whole rotor comes off as one unit. Now this is why proper maintenance is key. I've neglected this for a little while just because it is a big job and I have been holding off until I do get the brace kit. It's a clear indication that the axle seal has failed, whether that just be over time. It has had the same axle seal in it, so I've rebuilt kit for about 2-3 years now. It also could be a bent diff as well, which I don't think it is because I haven't jumped it, I haven't really abused the car that much. So highly unlikely it is, but we keep going. Now you will see on the CV, it might be a bit hard for you guys, but there's two flat sections on it, and you can get the CV in and out with the kingpins and everything still on, as long as the two flats are top and bottom, so clear. Another thing to check as well is right where I've wiped there, that's where the CV seal actually runs on. So you'll run your finger in there and check if there's a lip at all. If they're lipped, there's not much you can do. Maybe get another CV, but that'll basically stop the seal from sealing against it, theoretically. You can also push the seal in a little bit further so it runs on another part of it, but this one here is perfect. Another tip as well is they should all have these kingpin shims. If they don't, someone's doing a dodgy and trying to fix a death bubble by seating the kingpin in a little bit further. It's not the right way to go about it. Should replace them because they've now worn a groove in the bearing cup. And with one side stripped, it is now time to move on to the other side and repeat the process once again. Also, it is worth mentioning that it's always a good idea to lay stuff out in the order you take it off. So, got your hub, engagement ring, C-clip that holds it on, everything, locking ring for your bearings, rotor. It's just a good idea to lay it out, so it saves you going, oh, I'm not sure what goes first or last. It's also a good time to note, do not lose that little bronze washer that goes on the end of the CV, and also take note of which way it goes. It is crucial that you don't leave it out. How's that for a lucky find as well? You can see there's a few missing needles out of the needle roller bearing. So that's actually collapsed. You can hear them falling out. So lucky I'm doing this, as another one falls out again. So fast forward a little bit, now the diff's out, I've got my helper here, my old man, my dad, helps me a lot with this car. But yeah, fast forward, the diff's out, now I'm taking the centre out. Should probably put a mock-up diff centre in there just to help it sort of stay strong, to brace it, but usually they're pretty right without it. So and there we have it. Took about 2 hours, 2.5 hours for it to look like that. Much easier on a hoist, much easier with a second person as well. But I do these at work. Obviously with the diff racing, yeah, that adds another day and a half because you got to do little stitch welds, which I will show you later on. But yeah, this is the end result of 2 hours. So looking like a hover car at the moment. But yeah, hopefully it'll look a lot nicer than that. Obviously clean up all the arms and stuff, give them nice wipe down. So I've got it home, got it set up on a panel stand. I'm choosing to put the bracing on the top side of it, so that means removing this brake line bracket, which doesn't get put on because this is off a GU. They use 2 brake lines. That can go permanently, that's for diff breather. I run it a different way. These 2 will be cut off and replaced with P-clamps, and that's basically it. And then you clean up where you're going to weld, wire wheel it all, and start gluing some metal down. So there you go, that's all the diff cleaned up, bracing is all tacked on there. You see just little ones in each corner just to see how it's going to sit. I'd use a G-clamp on some of the bits just to make them close the gap up a little bit. Sometimes you got to use a grinder and sort of, as you can see here, I've had to grind out that little bit for the weld. We had to take this down a little bit because of the caster plates to make them a superior arm. One under there, tacked. Keen to see this on the car with the pumpkin bracing as well. That'd be pretty cool. It's pretty aggressive bracing on the front there. So keep in mind when you are using superior arms, they do interfere, and if you want to run the bracing on the bottom, they interfere as well. Same as with these little knuckle gussets. As you can see through that little time lapse, you'll see me running around different spots here and there, and you'll also see my old man on the air gun. So what that is to prevent warping. So you'll see there I've done a stitch weld there and then nothing, another stitch there. So that's to prevent warping the diff housing and also any piece that you're welding. It's just a tip, especially in here because that's where patrols like to bend. So I'll do a little stitch there, and later on I'll do a stitch in there, probably from about where my finger is to about there. But yeah, and the air gun is to cool it down. Like this was my most recent weld, it was probably about 40 seconds ago or something, and like I can already touch the weld. Like it's warm to touch, but it's obviously not burning my hand. So air is your best friend. Done a couple of passes on the drain as well. But yeah, so far it's coming along pretty good. There is a lot of welding, like there is probably a day welding estimated so far. Just because of, yeah, the little stitches, and then you got to move somewhere else and let it cool down and whatnot. But yeah, it's slowly getting there. Really getting to the end of this, but you will find little bits like here. Yeah, that is a huge gap, and just cutting off a little piece of angle just to shove in there, sort of fill it up a little bit. So there we have it, the final product. Obviously got to clean off some of this splatter, clean up some of the holes that I plugged up. But took about 6 hours, 7 hours total of welding, cooling, and everything like that. But really happy with how it turned out. Like, I'm no boilermaker, I'm no welder by trade, just a mechanic giving it a go, but some of these have actually turned out really nice. I'm very happy with it. Once again, as I've said, they're all stitches, so it would be nice to do this all in one pass, but it's just the way it is. But no, looking forward to painting it and cleaning it up. Probably going to hit it with some 2-pack. Right, so now we've got my old man who's a spray painter panel beater who has kindly elected to paint the diff for me. What are we painted in and why would we choose that?
Not a high quality paint, it's an industrial 2-pack paint, so it should be fairly robust. With the nature of a 4-wheel drive, it's going to get knocked about, so you redo these kind of things all the time. The other reason we're doing it in this type of paint is because we have an excess of it from when we built the tray.
And it's fairly easy to touch up later on if it does sort of scratch off. You can rattle can over it.
We're not building show cars, so it's shiny.
Alright, so we're day 2, and that means cleaning it and stripping it. Day 2 is also painting and welding the diff a little bit, but now we're up to pretty much cleaning everything, knocking out races, packing bearings, all the annoying stuff. So yeah, I'll go through the ins and outs, because I know getting kingpin bearings off is a bit annoying. I use the press. Getting the needle rollers out is a bit annoying too. Now, every GU owner's favourite thing, manual locking hubs. They're really expensive. Genuine ones are about $300, $350. Keep good care of them. Tip for these when cleaning them out as well is you might be tempted, see all the gunk in there and schmutz. Might be tempted to, we'll just clean it all out, grease it out fully. Actually not good for them. The more you clean them out, the more you're tempted to pack more grease into them, which can actually prevent them from actually twisting in and locking in because there's that much grease in there. So what I do is just get a rag, wipe out a little bit of it because it's not great quality grease that's in there. It degraded into sort of oil now, but go with a cloth or a rag or something like that and just smear a little bit of grease in there. So always a good type is to check over your stub axles. Now what you want to look for is any wear there for the bearing running on it. Could also be caused by heat. Checking where the seal runs as well, sometimes that can be lipped, and at the top there they can actually sort of kneel over, and it's a pain in the ass to get the lock nut on and off. Now it is a little bit hard to see because the camera didn't want to focus, but that's the tool I use to get the needle roller out of the back of the stub axle. It's got a little cutout to reach down there just to grab that lip and push it through. So as you see, I've got the new rotors here and they've got a couple of lines in them. There is a left and a right. This one is here for the passenger side because you would have it so they go in the direction you're driving. So this one will be going in reverse if you were to drive forwards. I've got everything laid out on the bench. Everything's painted. As you can see over in the corner there, we have brand new calipers along with brand new braided brake lines. You can't tell by now, going all out, new pads, rotors, the whole lot. Move on to the next thing, which is the swivle hub. So got it all from Drive Tech, which sourced it through 4x4 Off-Road Clinic. There'll be a link down below and my discount code for 10% off anything store wide. Basically it's a GQ, GU kit, so you'll get these washers in them. Bin them, don't worry about them, they're for a GQ setup. They offer these seals, which are fine to use. I go in trail gear just as an upgrade to seal them a little bit better, a little bit more peace of mind with that. But everything else, there's genuine Japanese bearings, no issues there. We've used them throughout the workshop since I've been here and many moons before that. But as we have a closer look of everything that's painted, got the manual hub painted, kingpins painted, scraper seals, everything. Brand new, nice, beautiful caliper. It's gonna look awesome on the car and stop a whole lot better than seized, crappy old 30-year-old calipers. Braided brake line, also from 4x4 Off-Road Clinic. Pretty much everything you see here is from them, and you get a good discount code. But yeah, mind the mess. But that's both sides pretty much painted, ready for new seals and bearings and races to be smacked in. So this is currently how we sit at the end of day 2, theoretically for me. You guys are all going to get this in one part, but everything's packed, all the bearings are packed, the bearings are in everywhere. Out all the new parts here. The Diff's all painted and drying currently. So everything's laid out. Got new axle seals there. You can see, touched on it already, but how bad the bearings were and how in need this was of new bearings. But everything's looking schmicko, ready for when the Diff gets back here, when it's dried. Throw that back under and start assembling everything. Alright, so as you can see behind me, the Diff is back under the car, the radius arms are on, shocks are on. Now it's time to start printing it up and putting all the big parts back on. Coming out amazing, super shiny, probably won't sit like that for very long, but now it's for the hard task of actually putting it all back together, and let's jump into that. So whenever you're mucking around with lockers, there's a copper line that runs in here and it's always super close to the housing, and I've done it before in the past. You nick them, break the copper line, it's a nightmare. You don't find it out until you're right at the end and you've got everything plumbed in, and you flick your locker on and it's just constant running of the compressor. So we've made up this little tool here. So basically that gives it air, it's pressurizing the locker. Take that off, still holding full air, and just give it a few spins, make sure you can't hear anything, and still holding air. So she's a winner, we can continue going. One thing that not many people touch on is actually bracing on top of the diff and some clearances, especially when you've got a converted car, not that this is, but I've just taken the springs out, and if we jump under here with the light, you can actually see that the bracing the top of the diff is a bit closer, and also a brake line over there is a little bit closer. But this one thing to check is bump stop clearances when you are bracing, when you are doing anything suspension wise anyway. It's always a smart thing to do. Alright, so after about 3 days of working on the car, it is finally done. It is outside on all four wheels again. Did a few other little bits to it, put an engine mount in it, engine limit strap. But pretty much what we ended up doing is just bleed the brakes, putting some diff oil in it, nipping everything up by hand, as I'd recommend you tighten up your control arms on the ground under the car's weight. But yeah, we'll jump on under and show you what it looks like. You got your top truss up there, which I like it because it's a little bit less in your face. Don't mind a little bit of yellow, that's just sealer. And you got your main pumpkin brace, and then a little diff drain plug guard. If you've got a GQ/GU, you know what I mean when I say that it gets smashed every time you go out. But nonetheless, new calipers, new brake lines, new rotors, pretty much everything's new on the front end. So we're all good to go and go hit some hard tracks again. So if you like these type of videos, I sure do enjoy teaching you guys everything I know about it, because I'm obviously a mechanic. If you do like it, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment about what you want to see done on this next. I am going through engineering at the moment, so I'm ticking off the list as I go. Thank you very much for watching.